When your mom dies and you're in third grade, you might as well be an orphan. I mean, it's tough. You know, your mom is everything.
Right.
Were you afraid that your father would just give you away or something? Did you feel, you just didn't know?
I really didn't know. Now, we lived back to back with my father's sister. Like the back of our houses matched up. So his sister lived behind us. So he kind of put me with my aunt.
Right.
And he continued to go to work and, try to continue his life. And then he passed not long after that.
Yeah, your dad died when you were 12.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is crazy. Now you're an orphan at 12.
Absolutely. And I left my aunt's house when I was 17 years old.
Now, that made you a cool kid in the sense that you were eligible for like a Social Security check because you had lost both parents, I assume.
Yes, sir.
So you move out and get your own place.
Yeah.
So you had absolutely no one sitting there spelling out rules for you. You're really on your own.
In the 12th grade, I had my own apartment.
Can you imagine in the 12th grade having your own place? Was it party central? I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Like, what was going on in that apartment?
That was back in the days when you would get weed and it would be like a bushel of weed.
And it was the worst weed ever.
A bushel of weed. And
they would smoke a bushel to get high.
Yeah, and they would roll joints all day and all night and stuff. And a lot, I mean... Hey, that's basically how I ended up with my daughter.
Right. You got a daughter, and now you're responsible for a young child, and you've got to make money.
Yeah.
All of a sudden. How old are you at that point?
18.
Yeah. So then you figure out, I know what I'll do. I'll join the military.
Yeah.
Because you figured then I can support my kid.
Absolutely. And I was like, you know what? I got to do something responsible. I mean, out here in the streets running around. What if I go to jail?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What if I go to jail? So I went in the Army. I went down and I just signed up. And I basically went in for uniforms. Yeah. Like I went in there and they were like, well, this one you get a $2,500 bonus. That's infantry. I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Right.
And they go, if you do airborne, you'll get a red beret. But I'm like, I'm from a Crip hood. I can't come home in a red beret. Right?
Really?
Right? And so they said, well, if you do this, you're a ranger. You get a black beret. I was like, black? That's kind of dope. Like the Panthers. That's gangster.
It's true. You almost want to kind of like go in for the uniform.
Yeah.
You're not even thinking about the reality.
I don't even know what these things are. Then they said, I said, what's the green beret? They say, well, that's 52 weeks of basic training. That's advanced individual training. That's special forces. I'm like, nah, that's too long before I would get to my post. So I got Ranger qualified. I went to Darby and Benning and jump and all that.
But even in the military, you got in trouble. You got caught stealing a rug. And they...
Everybody said, Howard Stern is going to know all your shit, dog.
No, I looked you up.
Okay, yeah.
I got the FBI. They did a full profile. No, but seriously, you got caught stealing a rug and you were put in military jail. Is that a tough scene?
I had this sergeant who realized some of us had special skills.
Right.
And he started asking for stuff like, I want this. We need a bumper pool table. And me and a couple of guys would go around the post and steal the shit and put it up in our area. And he thought it was cool. So then he got cocky. He's like, I want an infantry blue rug for my office.
What?
And I noticed there was one in the guest house.
Yes.
So
you want to be the favorite to your CO,
boss,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a crook. And so we went in there with a box cutter, cut a big patch of the it was a blatant crime, right out of the middle of the guest house, just ripped this thing out. And we got busted because no one came to pick us up. The guy that was supposed to pick us up.
Where did he go?
He flaked. So we ended up having to put it in the cab, and the cab driver ratted, and I got woke up by CID. It was a long story. Anyway, what ended up happening, and I got put in jail.
Military jail.
Yeah, military jail, but they made a mistake.
In the prosecution of you?
Nah, they gave me my $2,500 bonus while I was in jail.
That shows you bureaucracy, doesn't it? You're in military jail, and they give you a $2,500 bonus. Cash. You're like, what?
I'm out of this motherfucker, right? So I planned an escape, and I basically escaped from that jail.
Did you see any action when you were in the military?
No.
Nothing?
No, just a lot of training.
Right.
Intense training.
Is the training good? I mean, did you learn a lot of stuff?
Yeah.
Do you use that stuff out on the street when you get out of the military and you turn to a life of crime?
Well, you know how to case a situation. You know how to do. You know, most of everything is intelligence, knowing what you're going to get into prior to what you do. And just doing your numbers, being on time, all that kind of all that stuff.
When one commits a crime,
yeah,
and I'm talking about a crime, I guess you're armed and all that stuff, the getaway has to be planned perfectly. Is that correct?
Getaway is more important than the actual lick.
Is that what you learned when you got caught with the rug? In other words, your getaway was not solid.
It sucked balls as it got caught.
Yeah.
You got to, you can't walk into a spot and do something and then walk out into the street and say, where am I going to go? That's the plan. And then you say, getting this stuff is going to be easy. How we get away. And, I wasn't much for being arrested or incarcerated and stuff. So I managed, once I came home, never to go under again.